basically a version of Mass Effect for the Wahmen out there. Why do I say the Wahmen? Because women like me already crapping played the game, right? We never felt excluded. We never felt like we couldn't play it. And the fact that I'm still kicking around a version for the 360 tells you something. It tells you something. It says, hey, I might actually go back to this and play it again. Because these games are fun. Well, you know what? I can just wait for the Legendary Edition and wait for it to go on a Steam sale. Then I get the updated graphics at least. And all of the inclusions and changes that they included, just especially for women like me. Who am I? I am Miranda 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. Now, as you know, somebody like me who has wrongthink, who has less than ideological ideals, you know, I have my own individual thoughts. And like I said, Mass Effect was never a game that women couldn't play, you know, and for an M-rated video game back in the day, I saw nothing wrong with any of the options, camera angles, scenes included, choices, quote-unquote representation, because as we all know, representation is only a way so that they can market things to you based on who they think you voted for, your gender identity, your little Wokemon categories, whatever category they can file you into. And that's what it's there for. It is not there for your own individual quote-unquote representation. It is so that the marketing companies can make sure that everybody conforms to a stereotype so that you're easier to sell stuff to. And that's why they have regressed into this ideology that men don't let women play video games? Are you crapping kidding me? Or that video games that happen to feature aesthetically appealing females don't also appeal to the female gaming demographic? Because let's face it, I have never felt like I was not allowed to play these games. I never felt that they weren't for me. Because here you go, you have cast members from places like Battlestar Galactica. You have cast members from that. You have all kinds of nerd culture sort of things and elements. There's a lot of Babylon 5 elements in this, and I'm a huge Babylon 5 fan. There's a lot of things that I can say, oh, that's inspired by Babylon 5. Absolutely. I even have a shadow ship as an emoji for my channel members if you guys do like to join my channel, or I have Patreon, Twitter, Twitch, Subscribestar, all the places that you want to find me. And if you do want to subscribe to my content, I'd really, really appreciate it. YouTube did not like me talking about Mass Effect last time as well. They went in and decided to demonetize my video that I made last time, which just suppresses it. Let's face it, it just suppresses it. And they decided to review it without me deciding and asking them to. So they don't like you talking about this. Why? Because we're harder to market to. When we don't all get offended and and scream and piss and moan and complain about, oh, you can see her, you know what, you can, oh, you're just objectifying. Some of us like it. Some of us like it when we're appreciated, when people want to look at us. Some of us like to feel attractive. Some of us like to enjoy the aesthetic and say, hey, I like that costume, I would love to wear that. But no, Mass Effect Legendary Edition ensures FemShep's look is consistent across all three games, and that's just one improvement for women gamers. I would rather play, my personal choice is playing as male Shepard in this game. Why? Because I just like having a male commander in a video game situation with the way that character is written and designed. I just think it makes more sense to me. I don't care about how I see myself, quote unquote, because that character already has a name. That's somebody else. That isn't me. If I want to have myself represented, I'll go play Skyrim where I can create a character that looks pretty much like me if I want to. And I can make it whatever, because it's a blank slate. It has no name. It has no voice. It has no memory. And you're just reacting to everything. That is a self-insert character. Shepard is not, but it's nice if you want to change the look and make it more consistent and have the improvements and the changes that you had. And I already talked a little bit about this earlier. But the fact that it's now finally for me, it never wasn't. It never wasn't. What women are thinking this? What women are actually thinking that just because the game has, I mean, seriously, it's an M-rated game. It's an M-rated game. And you're really, really concerned. Like, maybe that says something about you as the gamer. The people get offended by these things as the gamer, where maybe they're not mature enough to handle it. I think that the warning label right there on the game is great indication that you have to have a level of maturity in order to play these games and handle the content. Whether that be something offensive, whether that be something like video game violence, whether that be something like bang bang shoot 'em up missions, whether that be something like nudity, whether that be any of these things. You kind of have to have the level of maturity if it has the warning label right there on the game to where you can just accept these things as they are. And if you can't do that, then maybe these games aren't for you. Maybe the warning label is right there, and it's not because of your gender. It's because your lack of maturity. That really just shows a lack of emotional and intellectual maturity. What else do they say? Bring a lot of the original trilogy into the future with improved graphics, better load times, and a host of other designs meant to balance overall gameplay, which I'm all for. I actually kind of want to get... I've got these in my Steam wish list along with Honey Pop 2 because I play the crap out of Honey Pop 1 and, of course, my usual Parkitects and those sort of games that I really, really love too. But I want to try these now that they are updated just because I want to see how they feel, how they play. One of those promises including ensuring a consistent look at the female version of Commander Shepard across the trilogy, which is great for anybody who wants to play as the female Shepard. A lot of men play as the female Shepard because they like watching a female character more on screen. They'd rather she's just easier on the eyes. That's all it really boils down to. Or she might be more compelling. They might identify with her more. Maybe that reminds them of their sister, mother, whatever. Maybe they just want to play as the female for no reason at all other than to change things up if they played as the male last time. In the original Mass Effect trilogy, the game's character creation tools advanced as the trilogy itself progressed, offering more options and details that weren't available in the first two games. This often made it difficult to maintain a consistent appearance, especially for FemShep across all three games. Which, that's great. You know, make the appearance better if you are playing the same, if you're taking your character. Because that's the point of it, because all these games interconnect. And you start up the second one with what choices did you make in the first. That is one of the things that I do like. I'm very much in appreciation of this. I'm wondering if they have to give these outrageous clickbait articles just so they get somebody like me to go in and read the article and say, yeah, I actually like all these things. And then they don't find anything else in the article to really, is that where we're going with this? She won't even have, it says, I'm assuming this is a woman who wrote this. Jennifer Melzer. Okay, 16 hours ago. The iconic version of FemShep fans have come to know and love only made her marketing debut with the release of Mass Effect 3. And how that came to be just a little bit off-putting upon reflection. How? How's that off-putting, I wonder? In July 2011, BioWare began holding a contest on its official Facebook page, allowing fans to vote between 6 images to determine the canon appearance of the female Commander Shepard. Fans had long come to know and expect male Shepard's face in the franchise marketing and packaging, and it has not changed much over the course of the trilogy. For a lot of players, it seemed as though there wasn't even an option to play the game with a female heroine. You know, it doesn't really matter so much for me, personally, because I don't have a problem playing with any male characters in Red Dead Redemption. Either of them. Like, playing as John Marston in the first one was one of my all-time favorite gaming experiences ever. I did not care that I wasn't playing as Bonnie. I did not care that I didn't have to, that I didn't have somebody who looked like me because I wanted to be a cowboy. That was the point of that game. And I find it insulting that everybody has to demand everything for them. Oh, I need a version for me. I almost would rather just have a set character that we're playing as if they're a named character with a story arc. And then you could leave the RPG games or the RPG elements to the RPG games, where you're just a blank slate, where you are the self-insert. I don't mind having two different types of games, but if you're going to have just kind of a slapdash, little couple of little changes for the female version, I'd rather not even have one. I don't need it in Mass Effect. I don't need every single game to have the female version of a playable character for me, because I'm not so narcissistic and self-centered that I care about this. It's nice to have the options, but let's face it, you don't need it in every single game. You don't need it in every single opportunity and franchise and every little thing. Not everything is going to be all things to all people. And I think, like in the case of something like Red Dead Redemption, it would have been completely disgusting to have a female character. For me, I would have hated it. I would have hated playing as a female character because it wouldn't have made sense to me. Because it just wouldn't have made sense in that franchise, in that time period, in that history. So, I mean, and I get you could have a female commander. Yeah, that's not even the argument here, but it just seems a little narcissistic for these ladies to continue about this. In the end, the votes were tallied, and it seemed the fans wanted a blonde version of Shepard to represent the female players. Because female gamers are blonde? Really? I think, here's the thing, maybe because the blonde was the sexiest one. I'm just wondering, so aren't you going to be offended by that? But the fact of the matter is that no version of Shepard created in the game was ever going to look the way that version did. It caused a lot of controversy among the gaming community. I don't care. I just wanted the male one. Actually, you know what? The more I hear about this bitching and bickering and pissing and moaning, the more I'm just like, you know what? Just make it the male. Just make it a male. I don't. A version finally for me. In a recent interview, the BioWare developers, it was also noted that in the original trilogy, there are often scenes that didn't translate well between male and female Shepards. Which is why just make it a woman. I would have, you know, would have been better. Just remove the female option altogether, just to piss off all the Wahmen, especially when your camera angle is to be less objectifying towards characters like Miranda.
Dead ass.
Like Miranda, when you're just taking away, and you're just doing some of these little half-ass things just to appease the little wokey wokes. I would almost rather not even have the option, because I'm kind of getting to the point where the rebel and the contrarian in me would just say, you know what, don't have the Wahmen version. Let's just not have the Wahmen version at all. Can we leave it at that? And this is a whole nothing article. This is a nice way of putting, hey, they're changing the camera angle to remove her assets. If you don't want to look at them, that is. And if you still do, I suppose you still can, because I'm one of those people who would zoom in under Tiffany in the Friday the 13th game. So if you know anything about that, I'm probably not allowed to show you a picture of her. But let's just say
Who wears short shorts?
She could really advertise some Nair.
We wear short shorts.
Advertise some Nair in her heyday. In its heyday, she would have been a perfect spokesmodel for that. I am Becca Random 42, and I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Just no more Wahmen in video games, I guess. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.